People say we autistics see things in black and white. Maybe that is true. We certainly don't understand many of the things that are done by neurotypical people. And this is another one of those times. Why are things that seem a good idea not supported by neurotypical people, even though they are the ones who created and approved of it, but they won't support it? In this episode, we ask, why? Unions. Why does the government and the media use such negative language when talking about unions? If a union holds a strike, the story will always be painted this way. The union is a bunch of thugs holding the country to ransom. It is always the same. Well, actually it isn't, and we will come back to that later. What is a union? Well, in short, it is a group of people coming together to support each other against an unfair power balance. In our society, we have people who are much more powerful than others. Much of their power comes from the system their ancestors created in the past. We need employment to make our way through life, and they are the ones who offer employment. These people stick together and make the rules that all employees must follow. Not all people are made the same, and many people only look out for themselves. And here is the problem with employers. They are not all the same. Some are good, some are bad. We live in a society, so everyone benefits, don't we? Sometimes employers put themselves above the people and forget we are all in this together and we need each other if we want to benefit. So unions were created to protect the people from those with more power who abuse their power and privilege. Maybe you didn't know this, but people get killed or disabled by bad practice in the workplace. Unions protect the people from bad practice, from unfair conditions, from employers taking advantage. They give the people a real say over their lives, which are not owned by anyone else. What has a union done for me? The thing is, many people have no idea what the unions have done for them. Many people today don't belong to one and think they owe them nothing. Worse, they believe unquestioningly the media and government's negative words about unions. I know neurotypicals tend not to question things as a rule, but this anti-union thing has always confused me, and for a very long time, and here is why. At the start of modern industry, working conditions for the common person, which includes women and children, was very dangerous and unfair. Over time, unions were formed to stand up against the uncaring, powerful employers, and changes were made that made workplaces safer and fairer. Those changes still exist today, and we all benefit from them, even if we have never been in a union. For example, do you like weekends? Do you like paid holidays? Do you like being able to have a holiday from work? Do you like fair pay, or at least the idea of it? Do you like a toilet and a place to wash up at work? Do you like lunch breaks at work, or tea breaks? The list goes on and on, it really does. Please check out what the unions have done for us yourselves if you don't believe me. The list is long. The thing is, the unions are still adding to this list every year, and we all benefit whether we support them or not. Never forget the P&O Ferries workforce. The employer did not treat those people with respect, and the only ones the workforce could turn to for help was the union. So unions have done more to ensure the workforce is supported in the UK than any government I can think of. Remember this the next time you think you owe the unions nothing. What are the problems with unions? Well, like all groups made up of people, the problems always come down to people. A union is only as good as the people in it, and the people who lead it. From time to time, a union will end up with a leader who is not a good one. When this happens, the union can abuse its power, just like an employer can. There was quite a bit of this in the 70s. However, we must remember that the media will report negatively about the reasons for union action. They will hold back information and actively paint the union as a bunch of thugs. The BBC is very active in portraying the unions as scum. They're one of the worst. So the problems with unions is people. But all groups of people suffer this problem, from the highest to the lowest. Tell me a government that has not had a bad leader from time to time. Just think of the 80s, the 2000s, the 2010s, the 2020s. The argument about unions seems to be very hypocritical, coming from media groups, employer groups and government groups. Are these the only groups of people that are perfect? No. None of these groups are perfect, and there is much evidence against these groups for bad leadership, as there are for the unions. Why then do we the people allow this? It is important to remember that employment is a partnership between the workforce and the employer. You can't have one without the other. And it is the union's job to remind people of this. When I was younger, the UK created more. We had a large manufacturing sector. Nearly everything that people in this country did for employment was based around making things to sell. Since the 80s, this has changed. The government at the time promoted outsourcing, meaning the manufacturer could send their work to a place where the workforce in general are paid much less than the workforce in this country. This allowed the manufacturer to make greater profits. No longer did they need a workforce, nor did they need any people to look after that workforce. They did not need to have a property to work in. They did not need the help of other UK manufacturing companies to help them make their products. All of this benefited the business person. They are no longer a manufacturer. They buy their products from other countries' workforce. There is no benefit to the UK workforce in this method. Oh, the business people will tell you that you get products cheaper as well, but this is not really true. Business people are eagerly waiting the rise of automation. It has already started right in front of our eyes. There are whole places of business where hundreds of people work, and now due to automation, 3 people work. The unions are currently fighting for the rights of the workforce in the face of this massive change, with very little support from the rest of the people of this country. Why? Next time you hear the news, listen to the way they report about people who are just like you, trying to support themselves and their families. Listen to the missing information, like the fact the employer in question is an overseas company, not even paying its fair share of tax. Most of the employers in this country now are overseas companies who are only interested in their own country, not ours. Remember, at the start of this, I said the media always reported the same way. Well, it's not exactly true. Because when a certain group of people start striking, it all changes. The media will either make no comment or be on the side of the strikers. This group is what is known as the professionals. The solicitors, doctors, barristers, police, groups like this are treated very differently by the government and media. As an autistic person on the outside looking in, I cannot understand this. Do you not want to support your fellow worker? Do you not want a fair society? Do you not want to support yourself? Think on this. The state and system of law in this country was created by the rich landowners of the past, many of whom have a disgraceful reputation and did things to gain their power in an unacceptable way. Unions were created by the people of this country to protect the people of this country from the unacceptable attitudes of some of the ruling classes. For common people, surely unions are the only way we get democracy. I am autistic, so I might have got this wrong, and I have to ask, why do we not respect our right to belong to a union and protect the rights of a union?